Hello, my lovely learning designers. This is Anna Sabramowicz, and in today's video, I'm going to talk to you about part one of two parts of the 6 things I wish I knew before I started working with subject matter experts. Let's get into the first 3. Okay, so have you ever had a project where, an e-learning project or any other learning development project where you worked with somebody, a subject matter expert, and you guys just clicked and it was so awesome and you felt so wonderful every time they gave you feedback or you got to meet with them? It was like a great synergy. Well, I love those projects. They don't happen very often. Sometimes there's things that get in the way, and sometimes it's not intentional. But what I wanted to do in this video is share with you the 3 tips out of the 6 that I have. This is part 1 of the things that, based on my experience and all the struggles that I've been through, that I think you should adopt or maybe consider before the next time you begin your project and working with your subject matter expert. I hope you find these helpful. Now, I know there's a lot of people watching these that have been through their own projects and have their own tips and tricks. So if you have any strategies that you'd like to share that have really worked for you, put them in the comments below. If you have any specific challenges that you're up against, I would love to hear them, because then I'll just make more videos about this specific topic. But I know it's very important because the things that we do, they're collaborative, right? We got to work with people. We can't be artists alone in our own world. We gotta help others give us their deep smarts so that we can create more and more amazing learning experiences. So without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so first one. You get what you expect. Now, I know this one sounds a little woo-woo, and I was a little bit hesitant whether I should share it first. But what I think is that it is very important. So what I mean by that, okay, so if you come into the project with some kind of a lens, with some kind of baggage, that stuff's gonna manifest. And I know this because I used to do this. I used to be a fan of those things where people were like, oh, which kind of SME archetype are you working with? Are you working with the person who is the avoider, the person who is the passive aggressive? And I was like, at first I thought that was kind of fun because, it's nice to put people into little boxes, but it doesn't work like that. People changed according to context. That's why when you go on vacation, you spend so much money, because you're like, hey, I'm in a different context. This is the spending time money context. So what happens is people change according to the context. So you can't say this is the way this person's always going to act, because it depends on who they are and where they are at in their lives at that moment. So one of the things that I found is that my perception, my beliefs about how the project was going to turn out had a huge impact on that. And it has to do also with the lens you're looking at things through. Sometimes you can look at, let's say, feedback with the lens of this person's trying to stall the project, or you could look at the same feedback with a different lens going, this person cares about this and they want to make it better, right? So I know it sounds a little bit well, that's not really advice, Anna, but it really is about letting go of the baggage that you have from past projects. For me, one of the things that I always tell myself is I expect for everything to work out the way I want it to, as in I'm going to get everything that I need to make this project a success. And if you come in with that belief and you come in with that lens of positivity and openness, things will work out for the better. They won't always be rosy. Everything won't always be awesome. You won't always get everything that you need, but that lens that you come in with radiates with everything that you do, and people pick up on that and they respond to that positivity. They respond to that kind of lens, and magic happens, I gotta tell you. So practice that consistently. That to me has been one of the biggest ahas, because then people don't have to work against something that I've already preset, like they're going to be difficult to work with, or they're going to avoid me, or they're not as invested in this project. I drop all that. I realize they're super busy as well. And then I just come in saying, hey, we're all trying to do a good job. Nobody wants to go home feeling terrible. And how can I help these people be more successful and feel like they've contributed in a really valuable way? And you think about it that way, you're going to be way happier as well. So it's going to be a better project for you. I hope you find that tip valuable. So number 2, okay, Your project is your priority, not theirs. Now you're like, okay, Anna, of course, I know that, but listen, one of the things that I learned early on is that if you get somebody who's like top notch at an organization, they're being sourced by all kinds of people, not just you. And they're probably slammed busy because they're in demand. And so one of the things you want to do from the very beginning is understand that you don't have to have really huge meetings or extensive conversations. What you want to do is you want to actually keep everything super focused, ultra short meetings with really focused outcomes. Like, you know, people used to have these, I don't know, maybe they still do, like 2 or 3 hour review meetings. Oh my God, that's like energy draining and nobody ever wants to talk to you again. So imagine having short 15-minute, hey, can we just dig deep on this subject? What happens is you train people to be very focused when they come into those sessions, because 2.5 hours or 3 hours, people can just like, zone out or not come prepared. But if you're only giving somebody 15 minutes to work on something with you, they're going to be more prepared because they know they have a tight timeline to work with you. And also you're being very laser specific about what you need from them, right? So that's one thing. And also what I found is that people are so busy when you send them an email or something that they need to review something for you or they need to give you feedback. They'll it's an email, so it's easy to ignore. And one of the things that happens is, as you know, for us to get into a project, it takes a bit of bandwidth, right? And so it takes a bit of time. And so sometimes that time is it doesn't materialize for our subject matter experts. So what I do to get the project moving and going, you know what I'll do? Is I will do, and if I know somebody's really busy, I'll actually book a time with them to do the feedback piece together. And all the tasks, I'll be kind of like hand-holding them through it. And a lot of people appreciate that, because what happens is then I can take them up on that project, get them into like the space right away of where they need to be. I can ask them really pointed questions and then get that done in that hour instead of them thinking about it and dreading it and forgetting and putting it off forever, right? So that way I'm kind of like their accountability buddy that's sitting right there and asking them questions right away. And I feel that works awesome. I've used that a lot. Now, to a follow-up to that, the other thing I do is I record those sessions. If you're meeting in person, record them on like an iPhone or something. Just record the session. If you're doing it via Zoom, record the session. Because one of the things that happens is you can move more efficiently. You don't have to write down stuff. You can just actually go through a document, talk about things, gather those insights, and then your meeting will actually go faster because you can just talk through everything and it's captured. You don't have to add notes, comments, all those other things. It can actually be done right there. So I recommend you record those sessions. Let your subject matter expert know that there's a reason, because you're trying to be really efficient. It works wonders. So I hope you're enjoying these so far. I hope you're finding them helpful. Now, the other thing that's kind of related to this whole, your project is your priority, not theirs, is you have to, how the first one was really about mindset and keeping yourself, thinking positive. Well, the other piece, I feel like it's really important for us as the designers, the creatives on these projects, the people who basically take the project from idea all the way to launch, is that you have to keep up your enthusiasm for that project, because it's like maybe it's your top priority, but for somebody else, it's like their 30th priority. And so when you come into those meetings, you have to continually bring that enthusiasm. You have to continually bring that energy, because you've got to keep up that momentum. People have to be like, it's going to take a while to get everybody on board. But one of the things that's really cool, I think, is like the things that I do are related to scenarios and interactive stories. And I got to say, I think that those are probably some of the most fun projects that my subject matter experts work on. Like usually they do their mundane routine job, right? And then all of a sudden I get to be like, hey, let's create some characters. Let's create some fun scenarios. Let's let's make this interactive experience for people. And sometimes we get to work with illustrators and things like that. So for them, this might actually be the most fun part. Plus, a lot of them love being asked about what they do, how they feel about the things that they're doing, and how would they change things. So you're tapping into their repertoire. You are bringing that energy, and in most cases, it can be really, really fun for them to be a part of this project. It's the most creative thing they're doing all year. So why not make it awesome? So like I said, you got to bring that energy and keep that energy up, and know that in most cases, you're going to be the cheerleader for this project. So don't let that come down, because nobody else is going to do that. Okay? All right. So last tip for this video. Hope you're finding these useful. Let me know in the comments. You better subscribe because that way you'll get a notification when the second video comes out about the next set of tips. Make sure you add your own if you have some good ones. Now, you're going to love this one. Don't be a stranger. So with this one, it's kind of cool. I got a little story for you. So I was learning about Aaron Sorkin and his writing style. And he was talking about when he writes screenplays, he wrote the Steve Jobs screenplay and other ones that I don't remember right now. You can look him up. But Aaron Sorkin said that when he was writing the book, or he was writing the screenplay for the Steve Jobs movie, he, there was that whole story about Steve Jobs disowning his daughter or denying paternity to her, even though it was verified that she was really his daughter. And so Aaron Sorkin wanted to talk to her, but obviously it's a really difficult subject to talk about, right? When you're some stranger, and by the way, you're calling somebody to say, I'm going to make a movie about your dad who didn't really want you, and disowned you. And so what's really cool is that Aaron decided he would call his daughter, and in the first interview that he did with her, he didn't talk to her about the movie at all. What he did is he just had a coffee chat with her, basically, and got to know her, and she got to know him, like his intentions, his goals. And so he created that rapport with her first, before they even started talking about her relationship with her dad and all those other things. And I thought, that is so powerful, and that really made me think about the way we interact with our subject matter experts, right? Like, how can we be an Aaron Sorkin a little faster, basically? How can we create these relationships with these people who sometimes they are complete strangers to us? We don't work with them directly. They're in part of the business. We are in L&D, or we're an external consultant. So how do you do that? So here are my tips for you that I have used when I was working with overseas teams that I was never going to meet, stakeholders that were across the globe, and SMEs that our paths would never cross, right? So how do I get them to, when I jump on those really focused, intense meetings where I'm asking them some really sometimes personal questions, because we're developing scenarios and interactive experiences that are the journey of a protagonist, which means that, we're going to have to get real and raw. So how do you get somebody to share those things with you when they don't even know you and they don't trust you yet? So the thing I thought, and I've been using this, and it really, really works, and my students have been using it, and they've come back and said, Anna, this is a game changer, is creating a video for your SME. And the video is not just some random video of like bullet points of like the things you're going to talk about. The video is you introducing the project to that person with your face on that camera. So one of my favorite tools is Loom. It just gets you kind of in the corner if you want, or you can use other stuff. And so what happens is I'll shoot a video for that person saying, hey, this is me, this is what I'm about, and here's the project, and here's what the project is about. I'm so excited to work with you. Here's all the things that I think we're going to get out of working together. Look forward to meeting you. And I send that before I actually talk to them or interview them in any way, because that way they get to know me a little bit, they get to process that in their own time. And I got to tell you, I think it was a couple of years ago, I signed up for this software. I forget what the software is now, which is kind of bad. But after I signed up for the software, I got a little message. It was a 30-second personalized message from one of the people who worked at the software company. And they were like, hey, welcome. My name is Jackie and welcome, Anna. And oh, by the way, I'm looking forward to learning how you're going to use this software for this purpose. And if you have any questions, reach out to me personally. I'm kind of like your customer service advisor or something. It was a 30-second message. Super unscripted, just like, well, unscripted, but cash and warm and personal. And I was like, wow, these people over deliver. Like already they're setting like this warmth expectation. And so think about it. You can do the same. The video doesn't have to be long, doesn't have to be overproduced. In fact, the more warm and personal it is about what your intentions are and making it personal to that human being, the better, right? So when they actually talk to you, they're like, I know this person. I know Anna. She sent me that video. She made that for me. That's great. So, and then of course in that video, what's really cool is kind of you're setting that up to, what are you going to expect? What do I expect of you? So you're kind of setting that up in the beginning so that your first conversation can really start with some, questions even like, I'm not sure about this, or, they have something to talk to, instead of just showing up and going, hey, let's get personal. So that is it for the first 3 tips. So that was, you get what you expect. Remember that mindset thing. Your project is your priority, not theirs. Therefore, you got to be that cheerleader, right? And keep the momentum going and be really focused with what you're doing as far as the meetings go. No 3-hour meetings, please. And don't be a stranger. So how do you create that relationship before you even have the relationship? I hope you found these useful. Guess what? There's 3 more. So you better subscribe because you'll get the notification that it's actually out, which should be very, very soon. That's the next part. And if you have any comments or questions, guess what? Put them in the comments. If you found this useful, make sure you hit the like button, and I will talk to you in the next video, part 2. Take care, friends. Bye.